Hi guys, today I'm here with Emily Blackwell. Emily, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi guys, so I'm Emily. I'm on a show called Made in Chelsea, and yeah, I've never really done a podcast before, so I'm quite excited.
Oh, well, this is
I think this is my first podcast.
Well, we are glad that it's with And Together. So basically, the whole idea of And Together is showing people that we support mental health. We also contribute to a charity that supports people with cancer, and we basically, with every garment sold, we support a mental health or cancer helpline call. So what the whole idea of the podcast is that we just want to talk about, you know, any times that you've faced adversity and just show that everyone's not alone, sort of thing. So has there ever been a time in your life where you've kind of faced adversity, and what did you kind of do?
Well, I guess so. Like, there's a few different. I think as when you're growing up, like especially in the industry that I'm in, like there are quite a lot of different challenging times. Like, fortunate for me, like no one in my family, my close family has ever, which I guess this has got kind of a problem in itself. All of my grandparents are still alive. Everyone is still alive, which means I have that fear of I've got it all to come.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I've never ever experienced grief or anything. Like, it's almost like a panic is like, wow, I have this all to come.
Yeah.
So that in itself, but I think the main problem, you know, in sort of what I do in the industry I do is definitely, you know, you do get judged very easily. You know, horrible comments are made about you, and you can get really bad anxiety. Like, I never, at school and everything, I was always sort of the girl who didn't have any emotion, but like I'm quite like, I don't know how to explain it. I'm very like,
You're controlled. You kind of can deal with your emotions.
Yeah, and I don't really talk much about them. Like, you know, I will if I need to, but I'm very sort of, I don't cry. I very rarely cry. Like, I was a bit of an odd one like that. Like, very sort of.
See, I cry at everything.
Yeah, see, I don't cry
TV.
at all. Like,
Wow.
Literally. I reckon the last time I cried was probably about a year ago.
Wow.
And it'll just be one night when I'm on my, I take myself off, like, if I'm a bit upset, I'll just have a good cry. But crying is really important. They're like, when you are crying, your tears, it's actually healing.
Yeah, it's like a release of emotion.
So every time I do have a good cry, the next day I feel so much better.
So your advice to anyone out there is go and have a good cry.
Yeah.
Come back in.
Yeah.
Sort yourself out and face life again.
For sure. But I think, so back to my point, what I was going to say, so at school and sort of growing up, my parents got separated, and that was a tricky time for me, but I was sort of very, very, didn't really cry, had sort of no emotion about it.
Yeah.
I was always the strong one who didn't really talk about their feelings, nothing. Anyway, I would never in a million years think I would get anxious, get any sort of like mental health problem, like nothing. I thought, oh my god, I'll be absolutely fine. Are you kidding me? I'm never gonna feel anxious, never gonna feel
what is mental health?
Yeah, like literally not one bit, because I don't cry, I don't have emotions. Like, how can I? Anyway, a couple of years ago, it was honestly the most bizarre thing. I randomly just started feeling super like dizzy, sick, like this weird like thing that came over me, and it kept happening out of nowhere, and it would pass, but I'd literally feel like, oh my god, I'm gonna throw up, I'm gonna faint, something's not right. So I went to the doctors and like spoke to them. They're like, you've got anxiety, like
Wow.
That's your body. Like, but I'm like, but I'm not anxious about anything. But I don't think it's conscious things I'm thinking about, it's all subconscious stuff that are in the back of my mind. And I was just like, so even dealing with that as someone who's such like a, you know,
that's quite a big change in your life. And do you think there was something that triggered that? Was it going on the show, do you think, or?
I don't know. I think it was an age thing. I just hit an age where, it's weird. I remember being on and I couldn't get the underground for ages, for literally, and I had this weird thing. It's all psychological, and I used to talk myself out of it. I'd literally be like, I'll be fine, and I'll go out, get some fresh air, and it will pass. Like, and every time, even though I feel like I'm gonna die at that moment, it does pass.
Yeah.
And I kept having to tell myself that.
I think that is a really key point to note, is that these kind of things, I think when you're feeling them, it's so overwhelming, and you feel like this is never going to end. I feel like I feel trapped by my emotions, but these, you can help yourself, and they can pass, and you can get through them.
Yeah, of course.
And when you was feeling that, what kind of things would you do to get yourself out of that state?
So it's fresh air. I had to go outside. I had to just talk to myself, like in my brain, like you just talk yourself out of it, distracting yourself. I'd go on my phone, or I would like listen to something or music, just distract my mind from going into that sort of panic mode or that anxiety mode. And then after a while, it did pass. You know, it does pass. But yeah, I think key thing, everyone is so different and they deal with things so differently. But I think for the certain thing I have, which is just get a bit anxious at times, yeah, I need to just get a bit of fresh air. I distract my mind and just talk myself out of it.
Wow. So you've got quite a big social media following. Obviously, you're now made in Chelsea. Do you find that can sometimes affect? I know that there's a lot of going on about now trolling. Is there any times where you get trolled, and how do you deal with the trolls?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, luckily, like the 90% of the people are lovely, but the odd comments, they can be really, really nasty. Yeah. And it's like things that you then like think to yourself, oh, am I, like, I got like even random ones like, oh, you're so annoying. Like people like, firstly, why would you bother even say that to someone? Like, what is the point?
You've obviously got a lot of time.
But they'll reply to my story going, oh, you're so annoying. And then I'm just like, well, am I annoying? Maybe I'm really annoying. Oh, like it makes you overthink everything.
Do you find me annoying?
I'm like, Mum, am I really annoying? But yeah, it's really difficult. I think you've got to be strong-minded to be in sort of an industry like that. You've got to just ignore the bad, horrible people, and you've just got to think, what losers?
Yeah.
What
I
losers?
completely agree. I mean, you've seriously got to have some time on your hands to comment on other people, especially on social media. The whole thing I find crazy, because I mean I know that in my life's 100 miles an hour, and I just would never think to write something. You know, I was raised, if you have nothing nice to say, then don't say anything at all. That's
exactly the same as me. But yeah, the Daily Mail comments are the worst. I just refuse to even read them. They are so vile. It's horrible. Yeah, but
because I think a lot of people could resonate with that, in the fact, like if you relate it to bullies, obviously, you know, there might be people listening who are going through bullying. It could be words, it could be, you know, people being aggressive, but I think words really do hurt, and I think really can get people down. So if you if you was reaching out to someone who was being bullied and who was being told horrible things, you know, not even at school but in old life, what would you say to them?
Don't listen to anyone but your closest friends and your family.
Definitely. And would you say your support bubble is your friends and family? That's who you go to talk to?
Yeah, so I've got a nice little different group of friends. I've got friends that I've had for years, since I was at primary school. I've got friends from high school. I've got friends from London, and then I've also got industry friends.
Yeah.
So I think having different groups, but the group that, you know, you've had since you were at primary school, your closest, sort of your day ones.
Yeah.
They're the sort of, they know you from when you were really young, and they've known you for years and years and years. That's before you were even in the industry or doing anything. So, yeah.
So definitely having support. I think that's like with And Together, one of our main things is that so many people go through life and they feel like they're not supported. And I think what we want to do is make a community where people think this is a safe space and we can talk and you can hash things out and you can carry on. Because I think that's from what you said, you talk about it and then you get on with it, kind of thing.
No, that's what you have to do. It's so key to like make sure you're talking about how you're feeling, like, and I think especially for young, like, sort of teenage boys and men, they struggle the most. Like, you know, a lot of women find it a lot easier to chat to their girls about things. A lot of guys keep everything so inside and so tucked away. My brother, he's super quiet. Like, I would never know if he's got a problem, and you just think they're the ones you need to sort of make sure they're okay, because...
And how do you do that? Like, how would you support, you know, you've got a boyfriend and your brother. How do you sort of make sure you know that they can rely on you? What do you do to support them?
It's a hard one. Like, for my brother, he is just so quiet and sort of, you know, he doesn't really talk about his emotions. He never has, you know, I don't know, it's just his little nature. Whereas my boyfriend actually is a bit more talkative about things. But I think just making sure that they're all right, just, you know, checking in, little texts, making sure, you know, they know that you're there if they ever need anything, if they ever want to talk.
So obviously, being on a show like Made in Chelsea, you must feel the pressure both on the show and sort of in your daily life. How do you cope with that?
Well, I think I try not to think about things too much. I think
try just not. Need me bringing it up to you.
Don't overthink things. You know, I think the show it is really difficult sometimes because, you know, obviously it's a TV show at the end of the day. Like, as much as it is all real, you know, some of the situations you get put in, you probably wouldn't be put in real life. You know, you'd just ignore that person. You know, for example, if you were to see an ex-boyfriend or something, you can't see them as much. Yeah, you can't ignore them. You get put in scenes with them. So it's just like, you know, and everything, the smaller things are made into a big thing.
Yeah, it can be so heightened when you're in that situation.
It's just, realising sort of where your head's at, like your headspace and where your head's at that point, and then obviously not real life, but like normal life.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so nice to like, although I love all the guys on the show, I have we have such fun. 90% of the time, you know, it is nice just to come home to your family and see your nice, not that they're not nice, but nice friends, and just your friends that you've known for years.
Yeah, and sort of let
and just hanging out with your family, you know, just keeping it real. You've just got to bring yourself back out. This is a bubble. It's a Chelsea bubble. Yeah. Everyone knows everyone's business. Everyone knows, you know, there's drama, and it's draining. You know, it really is draining. So I think, taking a bit of time out is always needed.
Yeah, and I think even when you're not on a show, sometimes, you know, you could be doing 100 things a day and you could be trying to please everyone. And I think taking time out for yourself is really important. And sort of loving yourself, which is another thing I guess it must be so difficult when you're on the show, when you're, you know, getting content for your Instagram and trying to keep that up. You know, you've got to keep that to a high standard, and it must be quite hard not to compare yourself with other people or to love yourself all the time, because it's like a constant, you know, the likes and the follows. And how did you learn to love yourself, and what do you do sort of thing to love yourself?
Yeah, that's quite a good one. Like, honestly, it is really difficult. Like, it's the same with anyone. Like, even on Instagram, there are so many gorgeous, skinny, tanned, like, amazing looking girls, and you're scrolling and you're just thinking, why can't I look like that? Why can't I do that? Why can't I do this? And it does, but I think that's not even just me. I think that's the whole of society now. Like, that's everyone. And that in itself is like, you're constantly wanting to make changes. And, you know, especially when I watch myself on the TV, I'm like, oh God, I look horrible. Or, oh, do I actually look like that? Yeah. I look so much fatter. Like, constantly saying to me, I hate it. Like, I need to do, why do I do my makeup like that? Why do I have double chins? And it's just like, you know, you just have to just remember, like, to just give yourself a bit of a break, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
And not take everything so seriously. Like, a lot of people ask me things about, you know, like cosmetic surgery, and if I have my lips done and my Botox, and do I get this and do I get that? And you know what? I'm just really honest with people about it, because I think, actually, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, no, I've never had anything done, yet my forehead can't move. And I just think, and that people ask me where I get it done, I think I would rather tell you girls where to get it done and how to get it done safely, rather than you go to some dodgy place in the middle of nowhere where you're going to be botched and where you're just going to look terrible. Everything I have is fully, like, natural looking. You know, I only ever have, like, a little bit of Botox in my frown line and a tiniest bit of lip filler. But other than that, nothing else. But I just think I'd rather be honest.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I love so much about you, is you are, like, not even just sitting here, like, everything you do, you're very natural, you're very, I mean, you're lovely, and you're really kind. And I think when you're in the industry that you are, it's very easy to get caught up and sort of, even going back to the cosmetics thing, you must get offered, have free this and have free that. And I can imagine that there are times when maybe you've looked at yourself on a bad day and thought, oh my God, and should I just go and get all this done? But you haven't. And what made you sort of stop and think, like, no, I don't need all that, like, I'm happy with myself?
I think natural look is a better look anyway. And I just think, my mum just would tell me, like, what are you doing? Don't do it. And I think it is tempting, because I look at Instagram, I look at people like Bella Hadid, and she has got the most unreal face. Like, all those supermodels are just unreal. Like, you know, they have these, like, cat eye look. It's flawless. I'm thinking, I want to look more like that. But then, firstly, I can't afford it, and secondly, I'm just like, no, come on, you probably would hate it if you did get it done. So, I think you've just got to sit yourself down and sort of decide, like.
Yeah, it's going back to that idea what we said earlier of just taking a step back, taking a breather, taking a moment and realising like you're fine, you're okay, not just mentally, but you look fine, you're great, and just loving yourself for you again, and then sort of tackling the rest of life.
For sure. I do think though, if there is something that you're super insecure about, like you're really flat-chested and you wanted something there, or you really did hate your frown line, you know, I'm all for a little tweak, like, you know, just
you
something
do
like
what makes you feel good,
exactly.
but don't do it for someone else.
Yeah. Exactly. So if getting a boob job and, I don't know, a bit of lip filler makes you feel better, by all means go do it. But I think, there's definitely a limit on it. And you do look at some of these, I don't even know how some of these plastic surgeons have even had, or these cosmetic surgery have had, like, certificates to be able to do this, but they, like, make people's face mental.
I know. Sometimes I see and I feel it's almost sad because I think you were so pretty before. I think it's so, especially now when cosmetic surgery is so accessible and to change yourself is so accessible that you kind of do it on an instant. Like, I mean, I had my lips done once, and honestly, when I say to you, like, I look like a duck. Like, it was so bad, but I'd convinced myself for years. And I remember people at school used to say like little things, and it stuck with me. And then I got it done, and I was like, why did I do that?
Yeah.
It's so easy to just do something because other people are saying horrible things or because you feel bad about yourself. But as you said, you've got to do it what's right for you and what makes you feel good.
I think it is sad because it's social media that has done this to people. You know, it's a trend. Like, do you remember when Kylie Jenner got her lips filled? The whole world got their lips filled. And it was that big lip look, and it's now not actually becoming so much of a trend. That's sort of going away. And I just think it's so sad because it's just what people see online, and they just want to copy it. They want to be these people. They want to look like a certain way. They want to act a certain way, and they want to dress a certain way. It's crazy, like what it's all doing now.
I know social media can be such a powerful tool when it's used correctly, but it can also be such a dangerous tool in that you just constantly compare yourself to others.
Exactly. It can be really dangerous.
But I thought we'd just finish this off. It's been so nice to have you.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Honestly, you've given some really good advice, you know, to take a step back, to think, to use the support of your friends and family, and you know, with And Together, we're always there to support anyone. But I think we should just have a little quick fire round. So I'm just going to ask you 3 questions, and you just answer the first thing that comes to your head. So, first question, what is it that you are grateful for today? 3 things that you're grateful for right now.
My friends, my family, and my nice surroundings.
And what's your favourite quote?
Oh, I've got some good ones, but I can't think. Oh my god.
Don't say live, laugh, love.
No, that is not. I've got some really nice ones.
Do you want to come back? Do you want to think about
I need to think about that one. I don't know if it's going to come back to me, but...
Okay, you have a think, and if not, we'll move on.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a 10-year-old Emily Blackwell?
Don't take life too seriously. Don't take yourself too seriously. And life is short, so just enjoy it.
Yeah, that's almost like a quote.
There you
go. 2 in 1. Oh, amazing. Well, thank you so much for doing this. You've been
this
great.
Has been great. Oh, yeah. I've actually really enjoyed this. It's been fun. I love chatting. I can chat for hours.
Oh, we'll have you back.
Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.